Here we go.
Okay.
So, welcome, Bootblacks. 3/4 of Bootblacks.
Yep.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
So,
yeah.
Thank you for taking the time. It was a little back and forth for a while to get the schedule, but I'm glad we finally got it. So, thank you all for coming.
Yeah,
no problem.
Yeah.
Our pleasure.
Yeah. So I won't start with the tough question right away.
No, let's
give you some more time to think.
If this has to be a 4-hour interview to dodge that, I'll do it. So let's do it.
Well, the longest interview I've done is 3.5 hours with Joe Virus.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna give you a heads up. We don't have that much to say as Joe Virus does. I think we're not as deep as that.
Oh yeah, Joe and I were just talking about like everything. So
okay.
And then we actually had to do a little editing and then reshoot the last part of it. So I had to get creative with my limited skills of video editing to work it in, but it was fun anyway.
Okay.
So I'll start with the reason why I have this background.
Yes.
And I'm sure you can guess why.
Because we like Chicago a lot.
Well, yeah.
But maybe because we also like 80s television. I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah,
Guess
yeah.
what it is. Okay.
Yeah. So what inspired you to do that Perfect Strangers video?
Because they're nuts.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't know. I think
because
it's the
great show of our childhood, right? I mean, come on. It's the great show of our childhood, TGIF for life, I guess. Well, not for life. I don't watch it anymore, but yeah, at that time, I mean, come on, man. That's like, I don't know, for my age group, that was bread and butter primetime TV and Perfect Strangers and, I don't know, like Chicago and all the iconic locations. And
yeah,
actually, why did we do it? I'm just saying that, but I actually don't know what it is. I think, at least for me, now I'm thinking about it, was when you're driving into Chicago, it's the sign when you go in, seems like completely unchanged since the sitcom intro. And I think it made me think of that, or I don't know.
Yeah.
But we were going there so often, we thought, wow, there's such low pressure to capture all this. We're going to be there like whatever that was, like 3 or 4 times that year. So
yeah, it was sort of like a love letter.
And also we have a sense of humor. Yeah, because we had such a great time in Chicago over the last whatever it was, 1.5 years, and it was kind of like I don't know, it gave us so much support. I don't know about that. Whatever. We're also nerds and like to joke around, so it's like
It seemed like a no-brainer.
Yeah, that was great.
It seemed like a no-brainer. I mean, the whole intro was basically like, here's Chicago. It was just like the most obvious kind of thing. And, we, like Panther said, we knew we were going to be there for a few days, and we were like, let's do something silly and fun. And I actually found a website that actually listed every single exact location from the intro. So we literally went to every place and we did it. We had a shot list and everything. I was like, okay, we got to find a horse. Okay, there's no more horses in Chicago. What are we going to do here? So I think that was the only scene that wasn't filmed in Chicago, was the one with the horse. Because we still have them in Central Park. So I had to fudge that one a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, and also
I actually did some camera work on that, so
Yeah, uncredited camera work.
Pretty good.
Especially not in the union, so we had to.
Yeah.
I mean, also, like, the thing about Chicago is, at least for me, like, and I guess it's John Hughes, right? But the 80s was extremely Chicago focused. So it's kind of a weird thing, because I don't think until recently I'd actually been to Chicago over until the last couple of years, but it's kind of iconic in my mind because of the time I grew up in, I suppose. Yeah. So, we actually went to the high school where they filmed Breakfast Club and all the other John Hughes movies, which was pretty cool, because it's a police station now, but apparently John Hughes had kind of like full run of the place in the 80s. So apparently every movie takes place inside of that singular high school,
Yeah.
including the gymnasium, which is where they built the McAllister house from Home Alone. So
Oh,
I
wow.
guess we're kind of like a 80s tourists a little bit there in Chicago in 2019. But yeah.
Well, it sounds like a business opportunity in case the band thing doesn't work out, you know.
Oh man, after we put
the
that thing
band's
out,
breaking up.
everybody was
I'm
like, so when are you
running
going to do
tours
Bosom
in
Buddies?
Chicago. Right. Yeah. Yeah, just do. Their music's awful, but they do iconic reshoots of Chicago-based 1980s TV shows and movies. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we can move them to be tour guides. That's a retirement plan.
There you go.
I'd be all right with that.
Yeah.
So how did you all get started?
I love to let Panther and Allie answer this one because I was not an original member of the band. So I'm like, here you go. This one's yours.
Okay. So, you never forget that. Let's mix it up then. Why don't you do it this time? Because yeah, you do it.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Barrett, you tell the story.
Wow. Okay. So I was a lonely chap in New York, and I was just down on my luck. And this sounds like a sitcom intro, actually.
Wait, this is hold on. This is still supposed to be about us.
Yeah, but it's my perspective.
Oh, I see. Okay, all right.
And I was just waiting for the right couple of people, the two blondes, to just show up in my life. And
okay.
Lo and behold, one day I was just playing this concert and somebody walked up to me and said, "Excuse me, are you Panther?" And I said, "What?" I had no idea what the hell this person was talking about, but apparently it was one of Bootblacks' first shows in New York, and I hadn't met them yet, but we were sharing a stage together. And I guess this was probably almost 10 years ago.
Public assembly?
And which sounds crazy to say. And I guess Panther and I looked a little more similar back then. We're definitely the same height and the same lankiness. But so then I see this mustachioed, well-suited man get on stage, and I was like, "What is this?" And Allie was shredding, and I was like, "Okay, I got to keep tabs on these two."
By the way, I'm enjoying this. Keep going.
And so the band that I was in at the time kind of saw its end, and I was left without a band. And Panther was doing keys at the time, and he didn't want to anymore. He wanted to strut around on stage and get his dancing moves.
Mick Jagger.
Yeah, that's exactly the way I phrased it too, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking for more strutting, actually. I want to...
Strut freedom.
Yeah, that's strut.
Yeah. Like the post-punk Axl Rose.
That's what I've always thought of him as. So funny that you would say that.
Yeah, that's on my resume, actually.
So yeah, it was just that Allie and Panther had a musical relationship already that they brought with them from the West Coast, and I'm reaping the benefits of that.
Yep.
That's a good version of the story. I'm gonna leave it alone.
Yeah.
You like that? It was all right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, not for whatever. We have told the other one a lot of times, so
yeah,
I like that. I think you're in charge of the canon now.
Oh no, that's a one-time offer. That's it. This is an exclusive Barrett telling on Dave Skywalker's channel.
That's right.
Awesome. So
well, actually, Star Wars does have something to do with this, actually, because
that's true.
Because
that's true.
Yeah, because Barrett is a huge Star Wars fan, and so am I.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, our bond over Star Wars was what created the friendship that facilitated Barrett being in the band. So yeah,
that is a good point. It was actually really, really nice to just be friends with these people first, and it didn't seem like they were holding tryouts, unless there's something they're not telling me. They just kind of
Yeah, we were looking for other Star Wars fans. That was the qualification. You were the top pick.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is a nice part of the story that it was just kind of like, hey, we get along really well. We have a lot in common. Join our band. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So what was your intro to Star Wars?
Oh wow.
Ooh.
Do you want to start this one, Pants?
I mean, I was actually, yeah, but yours is probably way more involved. I was
Okay.
actually just my mom the other day, I think it's when she brought home a VCR there somewhere in the early 1980s, like a magic machine to me, because you're able to watch movies on demand essentially, which seemed, dating myself real hard here, but yeah, she brought Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, well, yeah, but I remember watching Empire Strikes Back. That's one of my first memories of watching Star Wars at a very young age, and I have loved it ever since.
Yeah.
And whatever. It's I'm unabashed about it. I don't care. It's cool.
I mean,
Barrett,
if this
you have the remaining hour.
Yes.
Yeah.
Barrett can fill out the other 2 hours doing his thing. So I'll just leave it. Leave it at that.
It could just be all show and tell, really.
Yeah.
Flip the camera around for just a second.
Yeah. This could turn into like a whole different type of other interview series where we just walk through the history of all Star Wars action figures. So.
I think that's part of actually my obsession with Star Wars was the toys. I was, I was not old enough to see A New Hope in the theater, but the story goes that I was a baby and I was in the drive-in theater seeing Empire Strikes Back. And I don't remember that because I think I was about 1 or 2 years old. But I definitely remember Return of the Jedi.
There's a lot of mythology going on.
Yeah, seriously. I have older siblings. I'm the baby in my family, and everybody loves Star Wars. My brother, I credit him with actually really getting me into it. We shared a lot of the toys and stuff like that. I mean, I still have all the toys that I had when I was a kid.
Nice.
And it was just a whole, I mean, you couldn't be a kid in the 80s and not be into Star Wars. And if you were, I probably didn't want to hang out with you. Like, it was just the coolest thing you could possibly imagine. Everything about it, just the mythologies, the music, it was the best. And so yeah, that was always kind of part of when I would meet people or whatever, if I was going to be friends with them, they had to pass a quiz and know certain things. And
that sounds very elite.
Yeah, it kind of is.
You're like, yeah, sorry, you're not good enough.
Well, remember I remember when we were in the van and we were playing that stupid Star Wars game, and you were nailing a lot of questions. Yeah, heads up, that was it. And I was like, this guy knows his shit.
That's funny because none of this has to do with art or integrity or love of music. It's simply our ability to retain Star Wars information. That is the genesis of this band and an end destination.
Well, I will definitely come back to it a little bit later.
Okay.
So there's definitely a reason to talk about Star Wars, but I'll leave that later.
What you mean?
He's planting seeds.
Oh, I see. Okay. Getting set up.
Allie, do you have a story about Star Wars?
I mean, my brother had all the action figures and he had a stuffed Ewok that he gave to me. So, I mean, gosh, I don't know how old I was. I was very small, but I was like, this Ewok rules. So that kind of was my gateway. And
she was too busy shredding all the time, even back then.
That's right. But I will say, even though I'm not nearly as knowledgeable as any of the other three in the band who can all ace like any of those heads up questions, I have a newfound love for it since joining this band. I do, and you know, I know enough to know whatever. I don't know.
All right, we'll get you through it.
Allie, we're embarrassing the rest of the band enough for you. You don't have to walk down that road with It's fine.
Yeah. So I actually did get to go see the original in the theater. I'm old enough for that. I had my dad take me all the time. It was like, I want to say it was 7 times I saw it in the theater. And among my friends, I was like, really low, where people were talking about, 20, 30 times, seeing it. It was, yeah. But I mentioned earlier that, I cosplay Luke Skywalker, which is why I took this name, Dave Skywalker. When I was going to the movies back then, I always thought Mark Hamill looked like my dad, or my dad looked like Mark Hamill. So once I got older and Mark Hamill was older, I was like, hey, I can actually look like him. And I did. And I'd walk around and people would like do double takes. Like, is that? No.
And I'm just looking more like Darth Vader these days.
So when are you going to write some music about Star Wars?
Oh, shit.
Oh, wait, Panther's talking, but I don't hear anything. I see his mouth moving.
Weird.
Nope.
This is where those video editing skills will come in.
Yeah.
Handy.
I'm going to answer that question for him and say, who's to say that it hasn't already been written?
Ooh.
He's like, yeah. Oh, wow. This is gonna get interesting now.
You're back.
There he is. Yep.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
I have weird ears. Maybe these headphones rejected me or something. I don't know what happened. I don't do good with the buds, so I don't know. Maybe they popped out and thought they weren't connected, but
Because they're not Bud Lights.
that's right.
You got Bud Light in that mug, Allie?
So the answer is I don't think we would do an album like that, but doesn't that stuff like get in the juice, so to speak? Isn't it? I don't know. The themes of Star Wars. I don't know. Maybe that's already in there. I'd have to see a psychiatrist to make sure, but yeah, I don't know.
It's all about balance, light and dark.
That's see, there you go. Exactly, right? It's about those universal themes.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know.
Right.
I'm sure it's in there, to be honest. It's kind of weird to think about. I've never considered that, but all that stuff affects you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
But I think
now,
it would be kind of weird to do a theme album. I think actually maybe we should. That would be one of the most unexpected moves of all time. They're like people. I think would legitimately be like, "What the fuck happened?" Yeah.
You need to write a song called Bosk.
Yeah. I'm a big Trandoshan bounty hunter fan, so I think that could be my ode to him. But I think we could top the disco Star Wars song. I think if we really put our minds to it, we could actually beat that artistically,
It's about time. I think somebody needs to.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It's only been 40 years.
There's been no strong contenders, so maybe we can do it.
Well, there's only one way to find out.
Right, risk our
My
careers.
gears are turning.
Yeah, just totally blow anyone who is interested in this band. Be like, okay, that's the hardest left turn a post-punk band has ever taken. But you know what? I'm game.
Yeah. Why don't they just call up Lucasfilm and say, hey,
you know what? I mean, Star Wars came out in 77. Post-punk wasn't far behind it.
Yeah.
That's what I'll tell George Lucas.
I'm
sure he'll take my call.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
maybe he's a fan.
Well, yeah, I hope so. He's a huge.
I'm not
he's a
doing
huge,
my George Lucas impression
Yeah.
right now.
We're
What?
all waiting. We're all waiting.
No, you
Oh,
have to.
Bootblacks. Yeah, you
It's
gotta
like-
do Bootblacks.
It's like poetry.
Yeah. I like the extent of that is just you putting your chin farther into your neck. That's the extent of your. Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah.
Okay, so now since we've been talking about music, now is the tough question.
Yes, music.
What does music mean to you?
Oh God.
Oh boy. I don't know. Maybe it's boy. I mean, that's a big question, right?
Yeah.
I'll just go for some kind of. Hopefully, this sounds deep. But I don't know. It's one of the most important things in my life. I think it's. And I don't think I'm rare because I'm a musician. Because I think it's one of the things almost everybody loves. I think you should be really careful if someone says I'm not interested in music. That's a weird thing, generally speaking. But I don't know. It's to me, it's one of the most universally needed art forms, right? Like, I think it's one of the few like kind of creative things. Again, art that I don't know connects people the most. You don't see Madison Square Garden, jumping in unison to a painting, or other kind of creative expressions. It's so multifaceted. I'm actually having a hard time kind of completing the answer because it touches people in so many ways. It's like it's there for you when you're down. It's there for when you're up. It's there for when it's just background effect, like a soundtrack to your life.
Mhm.
So I guess the reason I'm kind of scrambling to answer the question is that it's almost such a broad, meaningful thing to so many people in so many different ways, including myself, that it's almost intangible to describe for me. So yeah, I don't know. That sounded awful, but that's just
No.
what my brain's spitting out.
No, that's a lot like a lot of the answers that I've gotten.
Well, I can tell you personally that I guess because your question was it mean to me, the reason I started making music was because of how kind of grand and important music was. Like I was like, that's something I want to be a part of or a contributor to in any size in any way possible. So because to me it was kind of one of the most like I guess noble is the wrong word, but to me it's one of the best paths to walk because of how connected and important I think it is for human beings to participate in. And that's all I have to say about that. I'll just end it like Forrest Gump. Yeah.
Music is
You
probably.
want to take a swing? Whoa.
Yeah, I guess music is like what I imagine. It's always been what I imagine what very religious people feel when they just know something is the truth, or I mean, when I started going to live concerts, I mean, I can go even further back and talk about my first experiences with music, but like I just remember going to concerts and just there is nothing in the world like that. And like Panther said, like you see all of Madison Square Garden jumping up and down, and like the connection is just universal, and you don't even need words. Sometimes you feel exactly what whoever wrote the music intended you to feel, and it's the universal language. I mean, you don't have to speak the language of whoever's singing. You just know what they're emoting, and it's always there. It's always there, no matter what I'm doing. When I wake up, I gotta have music to get me out of bed. When I'm driving, I need something to deal with this shitty traffic. When I'm at work, I'm at or whatever. There's just always music, always. And if it's not there, then we're making it. It's like it's always on my mind.
it's weird for me because I think about that. To me, like music is like the most intellectual pursuit and the most unintellectual pursuit, like almost simultaneously. Like,
Mm.
so it's like it's very deep and complicated, but at the same time, it's like completely primal and necessary. So it's like a very exciting journey, at least to be involved in music in any way that way for me, because it's like it's just like endless. It's an endless pursuit, and but at the same time, it's not complicated, right? It's like very base. It's like water. It's like a necessity to live.
Yeah, music always seemed to be the thing that would bring people together, and like-minded people. Like, you see somebody with the Cure shirt on, you go, hey, I see
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And it was just a good way to kind of identify your tribe too, like maybe not so much anymore. I'm not sure if that's still a thing, but it seemed that way. It was always such a, you would go on these treasure hunts to try to find something that now it's so easy. It's incredible. Like all
These
of
kids these
recorded
days.
musical
Yeah.
history is just like, here you go,
Yeah.
right in your hand. So yeah, it's great, but it's also frustrating when you think about all the hours and hours and hours you've spent digging through crates and whatnot.
Right.
It's given me
I
such
mean,
a vast amount of pleasure in my life. It's absurd.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's actually kind of startling to think about. It's given me the best times of my life, the best friendships, the best moments, public and privately. So, I mean, what else
Yeah.
is like that?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure there's an equivalent. This dog has a comment about it in the background, but I don't know. I don't know if you can hear it, but
I also think I think it's the closest thing humans have ever actually had to a time machine.
Hmm.
You hear a song and you know exactly where you were,
Right.
who you were with. You can pinpoint it, and you can feel the way that you felt at that exact
Mhm.
moment. And like Panther said, I mean, I could look at a painting or something and like, yeah, I love art in all forms, but it doesn't have that effect.
right.
Yeah.
It has like, it's primal. It's like instant. It's like it doesn't take interpretation or and I'll say this too, because I think a lot, especially like with a lot of different types of musical forms or whatever, like whatever your taste is, that's for you. So I try not to be judgmental about people who I don't think genre matters. Does it make sense?
Mhm.
Like, I think that what's kind of great about music is that it's a collective thing that connects people, but it's also the most individual experience at the same time. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I lost my train of thought, but I'm trying. This question is so intense to me that I was
Yeah.
like I feel like I could write a. I don't know. I could think about this for the next year and kind of have different ideas about it. But maybe that's the answer: is that its depth and its importance is so big that, yeah, of course, it's like self-fulfilling. It's obvious, right?
Allie?
Oh, you jerk.
Yeah, she thought what she was doing. She was like, these guys are just gonna talk it up. I'm gonna slide right out of this one.
Well, I mean, you said a lot of the things that I already think, but I don't know. I just don't ever remember music not being important to me. My mom gave me a Mr. Microphone cassette recorder when I was a kid, and I think when I was like 3, and I have recordings of myself at 3 making up songs and
Oh, wow.
singing along to, my favorite records. And I just don't ever remember not playing music, or, just music is just such an important part of it's just an integral part of my life. My life doesn't really exist without music in it. And I do remember, like getting my first guitar and writing my first songs, and I always felt like such an imposter. Like, these bands that I love and I idolize and that mean so much to me, that can affect my mood and be there for me when I need it. Like, I could never do that for someone else. So throughout the years as I've played music, it's just been I mean, such an incredible, humbling experience to hear people say that they like it, they listen to it, it got them through something,
Mhm.
you know, whatever. I don't know. I just think it's such a like, and like, not even to sound too cheesy, but just really magical thing that like I feel so lucky to just be able to participate in, you know. And I don't think I will ever not, you know, even
Yeah.
whatever age I'm at, I will never not be playing music and writing music and just like loving music. So
Yeah, because if you're participating in this grand magical experience, which it is, why would you ever stop doing that?
you kind of just can't. It just becomes a part of you. You
Well,
know?
that's why, like, you know, the old joke through the, you know, was always like, oh, what, why would when are the Rolling Stones going to quit? And like, I think one of them said, you know, they're like, why would I ever stop? And they're right.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, there's, you know, again,
Yeah.
you're participating in this amazing thing. Like, what would be even the motivation to want to stop? So I think that's kind of a dated way of looking at, you know, career music that most people don't have anymore. But I still think it is a point that once you're involved in something like, you know, making music or consuming it or being like a fan of it or whatever way you're consuming it or participating in, like, why would you ever do that? No one would be like, when are you gonna stop listening to music? You're like, what kind of crazy question is that? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
yeah,
I mean, it's just so amazing. It can take a scene in a movie and make it sad or
Mhm.
exciting or what scary,
Yeah.
whatever. It's just such a powerful medium, you know.
yeah, like if the love of your life dumps you, you don't go home and like break out your coffee table book of paintings and be like, this is really helping me through this. It's just like, you know, I can't, you know, you're like, oh yeah, you're like, you know, I'm looking at this Jackson Pollock and it's just like what I'm going through now. It's like, I mean,
What my
if you're that,
insides look like.
right, right. If you're that person, then I'm so happy for you because you are much deeper than I am. But I think the rest of us are getting through this with music, and that's great. So
Yeah. So all this has been common themes in all the interviews I've done.
yeah,
Music is life. Music is what keeps people going. It brings people together. Community is a huge thing, especially on Twitch. Barrett, I think you mentioned Tribe. You know, that's in fact, I started doing with another friend of mine doing research on the communities within, you know, this goth, industrial, post-punk, etc. On Twitch, because it quickly became a community, a global community, right? Everybody, you know, is there helping each other, you know, being supportive. So many people have said, you know, that if it wasn't for this stream or this DJ or whatever, it's like I might not be here today, or you know, stuff like that. And so it's, yeah, I mean, just it is so important. And this is where it gets back to Star Wars.
Well,
yeah.
before
My
Here we
it
go.
gets back,
There we go.
My
Finally, people will be
Wait.
entertained again.
wait, before it gets back to Star Wars,
Okay.
let's rewind just for a second and talk about Twitch, because
Yeah.
it is really interesting what you just said, that like we found ourselves in the middle of this fucking pandemic, which I don't think any one of us in our lives would have ever thought we would have to go through. And like you said, Twitch, like all of a sudden all the DJs and stuff started putting music out there, and everybody was just going on there. And it, like, people needed it. It was healing people, like, just to be able to talk to other people
Yep.
about this thing that we share. And it was like all good vibes all the time, and it's funny because, you know, Twitch, you know, has the chat rooms and it feels very kind of early internet 90s, that it's got just that, you know, AOL chat room vibe, crazy colors, and it just seems a little nostalgic to me. But it's great. And I'm sure, like, you know, the DJs are all awesome. And, you know, thankfully we were already friends with a lot of them. So it just seemed natural to get on there and say, hey, let's get through this together. You know, we have this technology now that, you know, thankfully it can help. So yeah, I mean, I was all for it, and I'm still on there all the time, and I'm thankful for it. So back to Star Wars.
Okay. So through all the various descriptions that I've heard people describe what music is, right? You know, so it's eternal. It's always been there. It exists everywhere. It gives life.
Yes, it is the Force.
It's the Force.
It is the Force, right?
Music is
I
the
should have
Force.
said that. Damn it.
100%.
Damn it.
There you go.
It's so simple.
Yeah.
Yes. Well,
And I would say,
dark side.
like, with the revisions later, anyone can tap into it. Thank
Yep.
you.
that's right. That's
Mhm.
right.
Yeah,
Everybody's connected to it.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
right. So
And
again,
it
what
gives
is the
people
dark
power.
side then?
Huh?
That's
The,
true.
the
That
dark
is true.
side. Oh,
Yeah.
what is the dark side? The dark side is fame
Yeah.
and ego.
Yeah, there you go.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
But I do like
was
that.
good,
So is
actually. I
Yoda
had no answer, yeah.
is Yoda like Mozart or something, or
Oh, here we go. This is a dangerous road to walk right here. You want to assign different musicians to characters in the Star Wars films?
Hmm.
yeah, this could be fun. It could be a fun
Yeah.
exercise.
Oh God,
Wow.
no, because every answer is
Yeah.
going to be wrong.
Right.
It could
No
definitely
way.
spawn. It
No
could
way.
spawn
No.
a good conversation.
You know, that could be a good game.
Yeah, like you just like
Right.
say a character and you have to like just throw out a musician.
Like
Yeah.
Yoda
Well, it
in
could be
and
like,
out.
you know, that game, right? But with music,
Yeah.
like-
Right.
right? So you have a character, and everybody's describing the music associated with that character,
Oof.
and the
Wow.
person has to guess who it is.
I'm into it.
Can I copyright that?
Yeah, get an app developer.
We just want like 10%.
So
You
we're going
realize-
to be tour guides, and we're also getting into the board game industry. Okay.
Yep. Maybe this could be our audition for Shark
Planning
Tank.
for the
Maybe we can
future.
get some financing
Yeah.
on the tank.
Well, we'll put together a pool of ideas to take to Lucasfilm and say, okay, pick one of these or more.
Or more.
It is actually a dream of mine to potentially work for Lucasfilm. I just
Yeah.
that
I've
would
known
be
people
fun.
who have, dude. Come on.
I don't think there's a lot. I don't think there's a lot of people at Lucasfilm that like nope, this is not where I saw myself. That has to be one of the most desirable jobs for a lot of people,
Yeah.
right? I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
You got the noggin for it, Barrett. Let's do it.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure
Okay,
they
well-
need a troubleshooter of some kind.
Hmm.
Again, we can use this interview as your ZipRecruiter audition video for
There you go.
Lucasfilm. Yeah.
Make sure to hashtag
All right.
everything in the post.
Kathleen Kennedy, Dave Filoni, John Favreau. I'm here. I can do a
Yeah.
lot of things. I have a lot of toys. Give me a call.
I can do
Put
a lot
under
of things.
pressure.
I have a lot of toys.
It's
that
every
could go
good
either
job in
way,
a
man.
day.
That could go either way, buddy. Yeah. Wow.
That's fine.
That didn't
I
sound
really
like it
wanna
was
take it.
necessarily related to Star Wars.
Right out.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, do you have any more impossibly philosophical questions to ask us? Jesus Christ, I'm so scared.
later. Later.
Okay.
Later. So one of the things I want to ask was how you picked the name Bootblacks.
Well, I guess I sort of suggested the name. I was reading this book about New York City history, and Allie and I had moved to New York from San Francisco, from the West Coast, and I don't know. There was this kind of like interesting passage where it was saying, I guess Bootblacks used to be like sort of like public enemy number one in New York City. They were like, because although the term talks about people who do shoe shining, most of the time they were lifting wallets and kind of being like loose gangs or whatever. And so I think when we were moving to New York and our plan to take over the city, which was a little foolhardy, but whatever, I think that the name gave us some kind of at least a loose association with New York and kind of our ambitious attitude. And I don't know, I think they thought it worked. Unfortunately, it is one of the hardest names to tell someone you're in a band of, because they get it wrong almost every single time. It's like Boots Black, Black Boots, or my favorite of all time is Poop Blast. So like I was like, hey, I'm in Bootblacks, and they're like, Poop Blast? And I was like, maybe that should have been with the band, but now we're stuck with this. So like I still do like the name, and I think it's a origin story in a sense that was good for us at the time. But I do often think that no one remembers our name correctly. It might be one of the most like typoed on a event flyer names of all time. So anyone listening to this, please hang in there with us, guys, whatever.
Well, I remember a couple weeks ago asking my my Echo device. I won't say the name so it doesn't come on. But I asked her to play Bootblacks, and I got Boombox. I'm like, no, that's not what I said. And I said it again, and I got Boombox. I'm like, no, that's not what I said. I finally gave up.
There it is.
It's that's going on all the time.
You have to be extremely obnoxious about it and go Bootblacks.
They did that. I
Even
did that.
It
Still
doesn't
didn't
work.
work.
Even that.
I have to go into the app and I think change it or something.
No, you can do that to a living human being, and they'll be like, "What's the name, man?" I'm like, Bootblacks, and they go, "Black Boots." I'm like, "No, Bootblacks," and they're like, "Black Boots." I'm like, "No." Yeah. So, to all the people out there that actually remember the name, thank you.
And it's an actual word. It's not like it was just a made up thing, or there's 10 gazillion bands, Black this, whatever, all kinds of stuff. But like Bootblacks is like a word.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
also
legitimate.
the thing that we found out retrospectively was that it's also like a sort of S&M community. So like, it wasn't the initial decision thing, but it ended up, I guess I don't know if it's a necessarily double entendre, but it's definitely has a double meaning. And so we found out that there's kind of a community. It's like a leather daddy adjacent kind of thing, and I like that too, especially like kind of the whatever, being a Depeche Mode fan too. There's all this kind of like undertone of this kind of S&M thing. So I thought, okay, well, it's kind of a lucky pick because it's got some that as well. So for a very long time, I think that the top result was mostly very in shape men cleaning each other's shoes in very sexual manners. So,
and we have had some real
great.
Bootblacks come to see us, which is cool.
We've actually had some people. That because now we're a searchable thing that they've been like, well, I'm a Bootblack, so I might as well listen to Bootblacks. So that's fun. Yeah.
Well, it's cool that it's got that historical background to it.
And I have to be honest, the hardest part about starting a band isn't the music, it's the name. And when he came up with that name, I was like, I actually like that. So like, thank you. That's the hardest part. And I think you did a good job.
Well, unfortunately, no smart device can find us, but hey, we like it. Whoops.
It's a matter of time. It's a matter of time.
I have a bit of a comedic relationship with the word. I think the first time I had ever really heard it was an SNL skit with our good friend Tom Hanks. And he was we love Tom Hanks. MT, that's for you. Tom Hanks.
Just generally a hot take in America too. One of the most controversial figures.
Yeah.
Just
So
yeah, just wait.
he was playing a bootblack in the skit, and John Lovitz was in it as well, and
Oh, right. Yes, of
it
course.
was hysterical. And I remember my sister and I specifically, we used to just quote it all the time. So like the word was always kind of in the back of my head, and I think that was one of the reasons I was like, oh, there's a band called Bootblacks. That's awesome. And yeah, so that's where I'm coming from with that word. It's of course on the silly side.
Yeah, there's been some, and it's funny because there has been other bands by the names people think that our band is. We're always like, uh-oh.
There was a Black Booth in New York
Yeah,
City,
there's
I
a Black
think.
Booth. Yeah, and we're like, oh no, but you know.
Oh no.
So,
So yeah,
yeah.
not much more on that.
I'm going to ask you a tough question
Oh, great.
about pizza.
Oh, Pants, you're
Oh,
in.
bring it on. There's no tough question.
So,
His favorite food.
yes,
Yeah,
thin
I'm a
crust,
child. I love Star Wars and pizza.
thin crust pizza. Where's the best?
You hate it.
New
Where's
York.
the best? He means the place, right? You're meaning a
Well,
specific.
Do you mean
City,
the place? The city.
the city with the best thin
Oh.
crust.
You just got to say Geno's. Yeah, Geno's. Geno's down the corner.
Yeah,
It's Ray. It's Ray's. Yeah, I know. Every person thinks they have the best place. The best thin crust in the United States or New York City in general. In the world?
in the
I'm gonna
U.S.
tell you,
I'll say the U.S.
I'll say. Okay, because flat out the best pizza I've ever had in my life was in Rome, no doubt.
Mm.
I mean, that seems like a
Yeah,
seems like a guy answer, whatever. But legitimately there, New York City. I don't know. It's kind of tough to say, to be honest. Like, I mean, DeFario's is good.
My favorite place
actually, to be
is
honest, my
always
favorite pizza
closed.
place closed down. So it doesn't exist
See?
anymore. Seriously, yeah. Franny's Pizzeria, Flatbush Avenue was or Atlantic Avenue actually was the best pizza I've ever had, and it is gone.
Would you say that New York
DeFario's
trumps
is
every
still
other
really good.
state, though?
In pizza?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest. I'm getting kind of schooled here because I thought I was the pizza expert, but I think I need to dig deeper into the New Jersey slice. And
Really?
a lot of people are saying Connecticut has.
What?
Yeah. I mean, because the thing with New York City pizza is it's a little bit of a scandal here because there is like a lot of the chains are just supplied all the same materials.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you're a real crazy pizza guy, like there's actually maybe only kind of a handful of places that are like a good traditional slice, where most other places are pretty much the same, right? All good. I think generally better than other places, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I would say it used to be Franny's. I'd say DeFario's is the best now, but I hear New Jersey's talking shit. There's some pretty good pizza out there, so I'm gonna have to get over there and see if it's worth the hype.
Have you had Chicago thin crust?
Oh yeah.
I haven't had
Whoa. Let's rewind for a second. I got to give a shout out to Totono's in Coney Island.
Oh, that's very good pizza. Yes.
We're talking about a place that has been there for got to be close to 100 years now.
Yes. No. I was amiss not to mention that. Thank you. That was
I got your back.
Yeah.
What was the deep dish place we went to in Chicago?
We went to a few.
The reason I haven't had thin crust in Chicago is because that's not at least what I think of as Chicago, right? It's deep dish. You're supposed to have deep dish, but you're saying that Chicago's got a strong
deep dish is really more of the tourist pizza,
right?
Yeah, well, that's what we.
So the normal person, we get thin crust, and by thin crust we mean very, very
really
thin, where like the cheese and the crusts are the same thickness.
Whoa. Okay.
right?
So
And
are we
it's-
talking like crackers?
Practically, yeah. And
Wow.
it's cut in squares. And the reason for that is that it used to be like what they would put out in bars instead of peanuts. And they cut it
Okay.
up in small pieces so people can just munch on little pieces of
Okay.
pizza.
Okay. So what's the place in Chicago?
Just about anything that's not a chain.
But
Okay.
we need a place for cold waves.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're
I-
coming there soon. So
Yes.
Yeah,
yeah.
you can just tour guide us if you want.
Yeah, well, I'm staying nearby there, so I will figure out where the good pizza is
Okay.
nearby. I know there's a place right there. I know on Clark that people have gotten pizza from. I've seen them. So I don't know if it's any good. I'm sure that when this airs, there'll be plenty of people saying where to get pizza.
We need
Okay.
to
Well,
get some pizza.
tell those
For
Listen,
sure.
people.
smash that subscribe button, leave it in the comments, let us know.
There you go.
No,
Yes.
to be honest, like I can eat pizza for every single meal for every single day. So bring it on. I don't even
Yeah.
need to go to one place. I could go to, if you gave me 36 hours, I could do 6 places. Bring it on. So blow up that comment thread. Let me know.
Oh yeah.
Challenge.
So
I always
yeah.
thought the square slice was a bit of a Midwest thing because we went to Buddy's in Detroit, and
it is.
and I thought that was a very good pizza. I think the pizza rivalry is a bit fake. I think meaning that like you can find good pizza everywhere, and the slight differences in style aren't. I think New York had the crown for a long time, but it's a little overhyped. You know what I mean? There's a lot of places with really good pizza, so
Yeah.
whatever.
But California is not one of them. Sorry.
No, it's not.
It's like
California
a salad. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, there's like, well, no, I think things are changing. There's a couple of good places now these days, I hear, but I think the really reason New York is famous is just because even the worst pizza there is okay, where you have to seek it out a little bit other places.
Even the rats like it.
Yeah, that's right. The
They
Pizza
sure
rat.
do.
the pizza rat approved. Yeah.
That
But
guy was a hero.
yeah. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I'm ready for Chicago pizza. I'll
Yeah.
stop with the tourist shit.
Yeah. There'll be plenty, I'm sure, suggestions. I'm always trying different ones. I don't live in Chicago right now. That's the
Right.
problem. I'm from Chicago, but I got a job in Charleston, South Carolina. I teach at university down here, and I haven't been able to get a job back in Chicago yet. So,
Okay,
so
all right.
we go up there every year, 2 or 3 times a year. Cold Waves is
You-
one of the.
You mean that background's not real?
Yeah.
It's not live.
the most expensive apartment ever. It's just on the waterfront,
Yeah.
perfect view. It's like a
Big
bungalow in the
frozen
park
couple
right there.
behind you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Panther, I'm just waiting to see me and you running by him.
No, yeah, that is basically the area, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I can probably substitute that video in as the background. But yeah, so I actually was watching the video earlier because I was thinking about it and I wanted to see it again.
And you're
that's
like, look
why
at these
I
assholes.
picked it- that's why I picked- no,
Yeah.
everybody loved it. And I was just looking at the comments on YouTube. And it's like, so when are you going to move to Chicago finally?
Well, I think we were back there like whatever it was, like the 3rd or 4th time
Yeah.
in like a year.
Mhm.
And then we were like, hey, whatever, the generic, hey, thanks for having us Chicago or whatever that was. Some
Mhm.
guys like, don't you guys live here? Like, because we were like we had played there so many times where it was like we weren't even a touring band anymore, according to the audience. So, yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah.
We definitely enjoy ourselves there. So it's
Yeah.
not too far fetched, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you're touring, it's almost like, I would guess it's almost like you don't have a home for a while.
Yeah, and well, whatever. Not to strike back on it, it's like you know, some places, whatever the cultures are of different cities or what's going on there, it's like you never know what's going to happen. So for whatever reason, Chicago and us have been getting along for quite some time. So I love it. I don't know.
Well, a lot of
Yeah.
people say Chicago, especially compared to New York, is a very friendly city.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a very friendly
Yeah.
place. That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, when
Sure.
you when you compare it to New York, that's not hard to do. I'm guessing.
It's like top stereotypes of New York. People are not friendly. Number one with a bullet. Like it's like, right? If you had to ask someone to do like a parody bit of the city, wouldn't that be like one of the first things?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
I found that
So-
to not be true, though, I have to say. Especially like when we first moved there, if I was ever lost, if I ever looked lost for
Yeah.
a moment, somebody without fail within a minute would be like, hey, where are you trying to go? If I was in the subway, if I was on the street, whatever. And I just thought
Yeah.
that was like really unexpected, you know?
Yeah.
How many wallets did you go through?
I've never been mugged, and now I need to knock wood.
Yeah. Knock on wood on that one.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
I mean,
In San Francisco, dude.
yeah. To be honest, I think a lot of the unfriendly vibe is more that people are just very direct.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would guess that maybe that would be like it's interpreted as being unpolite, but
Right.
I don't know that it's unfriendly.
Yeah, like down here in the
Yeah.
South, being that direct is like being offensive.
Hmm.
Well, it
Right.
still is offensive. I mean, there are times living there for a long time now. I'm like, wow, all right, but you know, there's still a lot of that going on. But I don't know. It's the culture. of the place.
New Yorkers seem to have this obsession with time, and that their time is
Mhm.
very, very valuable.
Mhm.
So it's like, sure, I'll help you out, but just like, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Like whatever it is, let's get on with it.
I appreciate that a lot.
I also think New Yorkers are severely unimpressed.
I also appreciate that.
By everything. Like it's like, yeah, okay. Like, you know, it's like there's a low level of enthusiasm. So I don't know. Because you know it's the big city, it's the place that it is, and so I think you know it's a bit of a combination of being kind of at the center of a lot of stuff and like a bit spoiled, so people are not easily impressed with you. So there's a real kind of like litmus test culture there. You know. I mean, I can say that directly as being in a band and also just being a member of whatever the city. So like that goes from just being on the subway every day to being, wanting to do something there. People have a very high kind of or low tolerance. People are like, oh, let me check that out. It's like, no.
Yeah. There's so much competition for everything. I mean, even just going back to your pizza question, like what's the best pizza place? I don't know. There's about 20,000 of them.
Right.
So it's kind of like,
and they're all claiming to be world famous. Yeah.
So yeah,
Depends on how you define the world.
Bands and
right.
Yeah.
You go to a remote jungle in Burma and they're like, oh, the pizza place on 21st and 5th. Oh, that's the best. Like, it's not truly world famous, but.
And I think that actually really influenced us as a band as well. Just having like people have such short attention spans and high expectations, I think we quickly realized that, like, I don't know, you kind of have to have your shit together, to hold people's attention.
Yeah.
True. Very true.
Yeah. Yeah. Aggressively low attention span.
What?
Yeah. They're like, why should I be here? I could be anywhere else.
I mean, and that's totally fair, and there's like especially
I could be at Ray's Famous Pizza.
When we first started, I mean, I feel like the competition was even greater then, and there was just so much going on, so many bands to play with, so many venues to play, and we were just doing the best we could to be good enough to hold people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we're kind of steering ourselves into the most commonly asked question of us, of how New York influenced our sound, or like what are New York City bands? And I'm like, they're usually they're not asking for a lot of it, like what is it, attention span. Again, not a lot of bands come out of New York City where they're like, yeah, it's a 14-minute song, there's a flute solo, but just hang in there, some cool twists and turns. Like I don't think there's a lot of bands like from the city that can be characterized with that kind of sound, for probably all the reasons that we were just saying.
Well, I think more likely, what you're doing is connecting in some other way. It's not about the attention or attention span. It's about the connection, right? Just going back to, the with Twitch and everything else. And, people are going to come to your shows and listen to you because they connect with the music in some way, right? It's going to bring back a memory, right? Or, they feel like they're part of the tribe.
Some other cities might be more like forgiving, but I think if you don't grab people and connect with them, they're going to go outside and have a cigarette and get a drink, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean that's also like why regions are known for certain styles of music, right? Or I think get characterized for certain sounds, because I think it's sometimes like, I don't think there's like a clear answer, or it's something music scholars write books about, but like, why do certain areas get certain sounds? And I mean, I think it has to be related to the kind of the culture of the city, or where maybe it's not a city, the country or whatever, but yeah, for sure. I don't know. I think about it a lot. I'm not even sure that's the real answer, at least for us, but it's definitely an omnipresent feeling that it has to be getting in there somehow.
Well, I think with the styles, it has to do with whoever has sort of the influence at the moment, right? So just like with today's social media, you have your influencers, right? So you've always had that, right? So who's the DJ and what do they like, right? Who's bringing the people out to the clubs, right? And this comes up because of house music. There's a lot of talk about that, right? And that with New York and Chicago, and which led to the Club Medusas, which is where I grew up, and then all the other places that are out there. But it was all really driven by who was spinning, right, and what their tastes were. So I don't know that it's necessarily a culture, but really it's those influencers that really kind of made a difference. That's just my educated guess.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Also, I mean, now especially though, I mean, it's a big conversation in music, is how like the internet and like Twitch, and the internet sounds like a vague thing, but the way that people share and experience music, maybe that means maybe like regionality is meaning less and less.
Yeah, it seems like it, actually.
Because it's more of a virtual community. So it's kind of like Barrett was talking about the T-shirts earlier. Kind of identifying your tribe. It's like, I'm often shocked less and less that people dressed like you or wearing the affiliate shirts even know anything about the thing that they're wearing, because there's kind of this, I don't know, fracturing of music communities and cultures where those things kind of have less significance than they did in the past because of the internet. And at the same time, people are able to kind of find, instead of, looking for the only person in your town with a Cure T-shirt, you can be much more direct and know a lot more about people very quickly because of technology now. So it's like those old kind of badges of your taste or the people you'd want to hang out with or might have common interests kind of mean less, and because of this kind of style of communication. So I don't know, maybe I'm thinking about it in a more traditional, older way, but because it's changing, it's kind of uncharted territory or whatever.
Yeah. Well, there's actually, interestingly enough, Stephen Mallender of Cabaret Voltaire wrote a dissertation about music,
Wow.
and about the evolution of music onto the internet. And I've only skimmed it. I mean, it's kind of long. But it's
I was
publicly available if anyone ever wants to read it.
Very interesting. Yeah.
But it is interesting just in, well, one is like, he's got really interesting titles. Like one of the chapter titles is, "No, I will not be your friend on Facebook."
Right.
Yep.
But yeah, he talks about in the 80s being in Chicago, recording at Wax Tracks or but not Wax Tracks. It's Chicago Tracks. I think I'm forgetting what it's called. It's one of those, right? And he got influenced by house music, and that's what led them to doing much more like techno as they went into the 80s and 90s, just from having done the recording there.
Well, it's kind of interesting because we were just talking about pizza, but the reason why I think this stuff is related, and what I was kind of saying is people are like, "Where's the best pizza?" And I'm like, I think it means less and less where you live, because it's kind of like it's related to music in the way where, I don't know, it's regionalism is kind of meaning less and less.
Mhm.
You'll go someplace and they might have some of the best, name whatever ethnic cuisine you like, and maybe that area isn't famous for it, but
Yeah,
and I think that's
even
the same way with music. There's kind of a disruption going on with this stuff, and it kind of seems to be less bound by, again, geography.
yeah, especially in this last year and a half.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I see on those streams, especially, tons of people that are like discovering legacy bands for the first time.
Yeah.
Like, like, oh, I didn't know I like New Model Army this much. Like, oh, like, so it is kind of interesting that people are kind of still discovering things, but it's on a much grander scale now. So yeah, I guess it really doesn't matter where you are anymore. I mean, you hear so many stories of older musicians and bands that we grew up with, and they would always say, like, I was the lonely kid in the farm town that had nothing, and then I heard this one band and it opened my eyes. Like, that is a constant theme in like so many interviews I've watched over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, it doesn't really matter if you're in that small town anymore, because you've got a window to whatever you want. So yeah,
with its own new set of problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Let me transition that then to touring now. So you guys you're going back on tour. So how do you think things are going to be a little bit different post COVID? I mean, obviously you've got all the the health concerns and masks and all that kind of stuff, but now people have been exposed to music internationally, and they're going to know a lot more. So how do you think that's going to play out once you guys are getting back into the tour?
I'll just flat out say that I think one of the, benefit is the wrong word, but one of the interesting developments of COVID was all this live streaming stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because at least my perception was it wasn't that viable before, or it was kind of a niche thing or whatever. But when it kind of became the main way to consume music, it was pretty cool actually. And I think even more for DJs. Like essentially kind of really running their own radio stations, or in the kind of form of I hope that stuff stays around. I don't think it will replace the other experience, but I do sincerely hope that it sticks around. I think it's kind of an exciting addition to a way to consume music. I mean, who knows what's going to happen I hope that things keep on the path where shows are opening and we're not going to go back into some other things. So I wouldn't want to predict about that. But as far as I can tell so far, at least in New York City, a lot of stuff is opening up and there is shows going on, and people seem very excited to get in a room together. Yeah. I can tell you personally speaking that because I was used to playing live music all the time, when we had a very long break from it, the longest in my life, it was shocking how fucking loud live music is. And like how there is like we started, there was drums going and the amps were up. I was like, holy shit, is this like loud? So I do think there will always be, you know, look, movie theaters didn't go away because of VHS or all stuff like that. I think there's always a place where people want to get together. I think there's a communal aspect to it. And I also think that there's a physical aspect directly from just the volume that people missed.
Yeah.
So
well, part of
I
the
think it's going to be
experience.
great. I think people are going to love it. I mean, yeah.
I think
Yeah,
this
it's like
really
going to,
probably
it's
made
going to
people
church.
realize
It's me with your community.
how much they appreciate shows. Because, you know, like I'm one of those people who like, I love going to shows. I love music. When my favorite band comes through town, I'm all about it. But like, I'm also the person, I'm the first one in the band to be like, you know what? I'm kind of tired. I'm going to stay in tonight. I miss live music so much. I think a lot of people just, we're not going to take it for granted anymore and be like, oh, I'll see them next time they come through. Like,
Right.
I think it's going to be a much more revered kind of thing.
Yeah. And I think that's not even just specifically related to music. I think that's really anything in life right now. I mean, how can you take anything for granted anymore? How could you not wake up every day and like really want to appreciate it in the tiniest ways? Like, it really put a lot of things into perspective. And
yeah, I mean, what kind of reality are we living in where I went into a grocery store without a mask on? I was like, wow, what a cool experience. I mean, that's how the mundane has become exciting again. So I don't think concerts were mundane in the past. So it's like even more amplified.
Yeah, at least for the first year or so, definitely, I think you're going to see an increase in just people just enjoying themselves,
losing their shit,
whether they you know, however they used to enjoy themselves, whether they were in the pit or in the back just having a drink. Either way, they're going to really enjoy themselves.
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah, the people already going out or, you know, or saying that, you know, the places where that's opened up. It's just how amazing it is to be back out. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. People are acting like they're at Woodstock when they're in a restaurant right now. They just seem stoked to be there. So when there's an actual, you know, something to be excited about, forget it.
Yeah. Well, I know in the music business, touring is really important in terms of making a living, right? Because you're not, you don't make a lot off of record sales and stuff like that. So it's really the tour. So I'm sure you're excited to be able to get back out there.
Well, you know, it's funny too, because we decided to put this album out. We had it all ready to go, and then this happened. And we had like a call and we're like, okay, what should we do? Like, should we put it out because we can't go support it? And I'm glad that we decided to. We were hoping what happened, well, we were hoping that what did happen would happen, and that people had such a pause hit on their lives that they actually had the attention span to sit and listen to an album and share it and pass it around. And I mean, it did so well, and it's been out there spreading the word for us when we can't, you know. So we're just so excited to be able to go play those songs. You know, we have some shows coming up in the next few months, and like, it's been so long since this album has been out in the world. Now we finally get to play it live, and it's great. And I see a cat.
Yes. It's a scratchy.
I mean, Allie totally hit it. I'm glad that we had something to give to people since we weren't around, basically, to come to their town or hang out or whatever. So it was like we still kind of got lucky in what initially felt like an unlucky situation. But I mean, I'm a chronic traveler, and I think part of wanting to be a musician is that you can figure out how to travel as part of, as you know. So I'm looking forward to getting out there in the world, and
Yeah.
I love playing shows. At least for me, to be honest, I think there's some musicians or people in the industry, you know, they're album people, they're gear nerds or whatever. I'm not. I like to play shows. You know, that's the thing I look forward to the most. So this year was especially hard because that's really the thing I love most. So it was tough. So I'm
Yeah.
just excited that, you know, all signs point to it coming back.
And this was like what, the first year we haven't gone to Europe in how many years? Maybe 10?
Yeah.
So it just felt really weird to not have like that release and that break, and I don't know.
Well, I
Yeah,
think
I mean, we build a lot of friendships too. So, you know, and you get really used to having your other communities of friends that you get to see. You know, hey, we'll be there in 6 months or a year, and then you're like, you know, especially when this started, who knew when it was gonna end, and it felt pretty terminal for a long time. So to see some light at the end of the tunnel feels pretty good.
And you don't get that feedback,
No,
right, that you get live, and that's a big thing, you know, with the DJs as well, right? Is it's freed them up to some extent, right? Because now, you know, DJs don't have to worry about keeping the dance floor filled, right? They can play whatever they want now,
which is huge. I think that's great. I mean, the few times that I've guested on people's channels, I'm like, this is amazing. I can play whatever I want and not worry about anything. Like it was more just like, it just felt more like making mixtapes for people.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. So, but it's also hard to gauge, you know, how people think. So I you know, the DJs definitely have like different like takes on how they go into it. Like, are they there purely to make people happy? Are they there to make themselves happy? You know, and so that'll really dictate different responses. You know, so for those that just want to play what they want to hear, you know, Twitch is great. All right, they don't have to worry about it. Right. But those who really thrive off of the atmosphere, it's a lot harder, right? You've got the chat, but it's not quite the same as, you know, seeing the, you know, the reactions of people dancing and all that.
I mean, we love to get together in a room as a species, you know, it's like, that's our thing. So it's a big piece of the puzzle just to, you know, I mean, I've seen a lot of people who seem to be struggling with mental health because, you know, not just because they can't, I mean, yeah, you need to get into a room and interact with people, whatever your preferred method. If that's watching a sport or dancing or whatever. To me, it's all kind of the same in the sense that I think that's been a big hole in the heart of humanity for whatever it's been now, a year and a half, you know.
Well, it's actually helped a lot of people being on the internet. So people that wouldn't normally be able to get that interaction. You know, if you live in the middle of Kansas somewhere, right, you know, you don't have a club to go to. Right. But now you can interact with hundreds of people.
Right.
You know,
well,
and see bands that you would have never seen.
Well, that's why I like this kind of mixed model. I think there's a space. I don't think it's an either or. Not that you were saying that, but you know, if that's even a thing, like, I don't really think it's an either or situation. I think I think, to be honest, this kind of like quarantine lifestyle without the internet would have been, I mean, a million times harder.
Oh yeah,
it already was. Yeah.
We'd all be talking about all the books we read.
Yeah, who wants that?
But yeah, I've been saying for a while that I believe that on the other end of this, that you'll see a hybrid of live and streaming, if nothing else, for no other reason but because it's a secondary income stream.
Yeah.
The question is who that income goes to. Right? Is he going to go to venues? Is he going to go to artists and go to DJs? Right? That's still to be worked out.
I have a sneaking suspicion that it won't go to the musicians. That's historically, it's, you know, it's not like when the CD came around, they're like, finally, it's going just to the musicians. No.
But
I mean, hopefully it's better than it used to be, I should say.
We're in a point of transition right now, which is where you can sort of stake that ground, put in, your future contracts, the streaming rights.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, not even just with the Twitch stuff, but I mean, at least I think that, music has been the canary in the coal mine as far as not just the bad things that, streaming or sharing technology has, but just like how the economy of it works. And I remember it affecting musicians first. And then now I think all the other, any type of business now is seeing the ramifications of just how complicated whatever the former Wild West of the internet economy is. So, I mean, I should shut up right now because I don't know anything about economics or the best way that this would work. But I know it's an interesting, exciting time because I can see some benefits and some also downsides. So I guess we will see. A smarter person will figure it out, I suppose.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it's exciting either way.
I would encourage, not as a legal scholar or anything, but just as a business professor.
Oh, see, you are the person then.
Yeah. secure the rights to streaming.
Right.
Whenever you get contracts.
Yeah.
It's probably not something that's in a standard contract, but I'm sure you can get it added. Right. It's going to start being a standard. But if musicians start making it the standard that they have the rights, then hopefully that will carry over. I'm just thinking of this right on the spot, so it's not I have this all planned out or anything like that.
I also don't know if you're now charging me as a consulting fee, so I gotta.
Oh no, no, I teach business, but I'm very bad at it. I give away everything for free all the time.
Oh, you're like me at the merch table.
Yeah. That's why Allie doesn't work the merch table late.
I'm not allowed to.
Like every time I'm in an Uber or a Lyft or whatever, I'm giving like all the free lessons on, entrepreneurship to the drivers. That's all right.
You're like, I got $1 billion Star Wars app for you, buddy. And Allie.
Let's make it happen.
But one of the reasons why I started even doing these interviews to begin with was since the beginning, I've been trying to find ways to be able to help people in the industry, particularly the DJs, but also all the other people that are laid off work. That's why on May 1st, I did a whole 18-hour festival to raise money for Darkest Before Dawn. And I'm looking at what else I can do, but the only thing it's been a struggle, right? Trying to think, how can I help besides giving all my money away? But and pushing hype trains all the time and all that. I do Patreon, I buy a ton of stuff, but that's only so much. So one of the things I thought of was, doing these interviews was helping the people to get to know the DJs better. So that they might feel more inclined to want to, subscribe or give bits and, that sort of thing. When they know them more as a human being, as opposed to just somebody standing behind a turntable,
Exposure is priceless. Like you cannot put a price on somebody telling their friend, hey, check out this band. Like that's the ultimate. Like, when you need a plumber for your house, you generally will ask the people around you, like, hey, do you know anybody?
Yeah.
And you'll go with that person over the person that's advertising like down your throat.
Right.
Word of mouth.
Yep.
Yeah, always. So that is more than enough. Like, I don't know what else to add to that, but I feel like that is something that has not changed in this whole scenario, is that you want to help a band out that you like, tell everyone you know about them. Like that's
I mean, internet is essentially just a more the internet. I sound like a crazy person, but like technology just makes it faster and easier, right? I mean, that's all it is, but it's the same system.
Yeah. And we're constantly, I think everybody's still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like it's just constantly changing and morphing. And just when you think you're like, all right, I got this algorithm down. No, you don't. Like it just,
and
it
typically
changes.
typically
Go
the
ahead.
rarest human on earth is a musician that's good at business too.
Well,
So,
speaking of that, I'm interviewing Martin Atkins tomorrow, so that'll be one of the things we'll
Oh
talk
yeah,
about.
there you go.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was at the last Cold Waves. That was like my worlds colliding because I teach entrepreneurship. And here I saw that he was giving a keynote at an entrepreneurship education conference. I'm like, what? And so I ran into him at Cold Waves and I started talking to him and it's like, like,
Yeah.
Yep. My brain explode.
Well,
Here I'm
I
talking
know
with,
that feeling very well. I mean, I was fanboying pretty hard the last time we played there. And,
Yeah.
ChemLab and Pop Elite itself and all these bands we're just surrounded by them. And I'm like, yeah. All right, here we go. This is cool.
And this is what I love so much about Cold Waves. And it might be that others are like this too. I don't get to go out much living in South Carolina, but the after party downstairs,
Mhm.
I've had some great conversations with so many people. Like, I
Yeah.
just sat at a bar one year for like an hour and a half talking politics with Jack Danger, just because.
Yeah.
And then last time we were chatting with Test Department.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've chatted with you guys.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's great. I mean, that's one of the benefits and that's one of the joys of doing what we do is just talking to people and just meeting people out in all these cities. It's super fun. And, we, especially, in Chicago, we've made a lot of friends, like, and I consider a lot of them friends. Like, it's not even like, oh, it's just this random kind of acquaintance I know. I'm like, no, these are friends. They're like really support us and like they offer to put us up and they do all this. Like it's crazy. Like if we actually lived in Chicago, I'm like, yeah, I would hang out with these people every day. Like, so.
Well, I think also like sometimes music or anything can be kind of competitive, right? So it's always great when you see more of a community aspect or vibe going on, right? Like, and that's kind of what Cold Waves presents. So it's like, bands that are small or up and coming or, established headliners or legends or whatever. It's kind of an opportunity for a little bit of like community building rather than, again, like, things can be competitive or people each want their piece of the pie. So it's cool that, all the musicians can hang out and the fans of those people can hang out as well. Because like, as a person who grew up loving music, I'd always look at the bands of, the 60s or 70s or 80s and you'd see these like what the fuck pictures, people hanging out and you're like, wow, how the hell is this guy? And there's periods of time where you don't feel like people are supportive or they're not hooking each other up. So in those moments when those are happening, you're like, yeah, this again is another reason why you were seduced into the world of music, because it just seems like such a cool thing to be involved in.
And that's been a big thing on
it's not
Twitch.
just Cold Waves, but
it's been a big thing on Twitch.
Right.
Is surprising how the DJs support each other. Right. They're always promoting one another, it's not a competition for most of them.
I know,
which I always thought was really, really interesting.
A rising tide raises all ships. Right.
Yeah.
I know that's so true. It really is. I mean, it's so much. I mean, you look at Wax Tracks and the whole Chicago industrial scene. I mean, there's your perfect example of that. Like, one of them
That's a good
broke
smooth
and they were
story.
like, hey, check this guy out, check that guy out, I'm going to work with these people. Like, it was just constant, and they were, motivating each other, inspiring each other, and it was just constant creation from it.
Mhm.
And like, that's great. I mean, collaboration is such a joy. Like, I mean, we get to do it as a band, but then when the band gets to do it as well, like as its own thing,
Mhm.
it's great. It feels awesome, especially when you're dealing with other bands that you looked up to or you were inspired by, and suddenly they're giving you advice and saying that they loved your set and stuff like that. It feels
Yeah.
so great to and that's something that we really felt in Chicago and at Cold Waves, was that this kind of like welcome to the family kind of thing. That was the vibe, and it meant a lot to us.
Yeah.
I think there's also a healthy amount of like jealousy and like, which is good to be like, to show up and see people you admire and be like, oh, they're doing that. You know what I mean? And I mean that in a positive way, where you're exposed to other people that are doing creative, interesting things, like Barrett said,
It pushes
you.
you.
It pushes you to, it's like, you hear all these stories about these, again, those what the fuck pictures, and you're like, oh, they did something and it pushed us to do something. So, I hope that gets even more amplified because of, the online community as well as the physical community. Because again, we're not taking things for granted as much. So I'm hoping there's a kind of a boom of people, even though it was good in the past, taking it even less for granted. Like, hey, we're all, just being creative and hanging out and stuff. So, man,
Well,
I'm excited talking about this. This is like around the clock. This is going to happen. So
yeah. Well, Dan, who works with Cold Waves and Darkest Before Dawn, says hello.
We know Dan very well.
Yeah. I was just talking to him a little earlier. But he does
another gorgeous beard.
Yes. Yes, mine kind of pales to his and Panther's there, but
yeah, I'm in the club now, I guess. This is a secret society of men with beards. They all have each other's backs.
I think Panther's beard was actually inspired by Dan.
Yes, I'll just say yes. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, he does a Monday show, so that'll be coming up pretty soon on Twitch. It's all like rock and metal and all kinds of stuff. But he does a lot of the videos from 2 Minutes to Midnight. And if you've seen any of those are all about collaboration.
All right.
So that's definitely been a big thing, especially from this whole pandemic is more collaboration. And so I hope that continues. I'm hoping people really enjoy that so much that they want to keep doing it, even after everybody is back touring regularly and all that kind of stuff, not stuck at home with the internet.
Yeah, I hope so too. It's been really great, even in this situation. Like, we're about to put a remix album out, and most of the people that did remixes for us are people that we met in real life at shows, and we just established a friendship through sharing stages, and it was just a really fun exercise in a way to just kind of like say, okay, we're in this shitty situation, let's try to have a little fun with it.
Yeah. So who would be your dream collaborator?
They're laughing because they already know my answer.
Yes, that's why. Barrett?
Trent Reznor.
Yep. We tease him a lot about this, but let's face it, it would be amazing, right? So
are you kidding? Of course.
He's an unabashed Nine Inch Nails Trent Reznor fan, and there's ain't nothing wrong with that, folks. But we just know we're just teasing him.
No, I deserve to be teased. It's fine. But yeah, no, it's 9 Inch Nails was a huge part of my musical upbringing, and they were actually the first concert I ever went to. And so not only just in production and making music, but in like seeing a live show, that kind of that informed a lot of decisions I've made over the years, just in attitude, in just of not even trying to nick anything that he's done, like musically, but like it's just seeing him in interviews, hearing him talk about his influences and what he gets out of it. I always seem to just kind of agree with it, and I was like, all right, he's my guy.
Well, yeah, and he's gone in a lot of different directions, with soundtracks and stuff like that. So it's a little bit like Danny Elfman to some extent.
Another hero of mine.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
So
yeah,
Allie,
both of them.
who would you say?
If we could collaborate with anyone?
Yeah.
Oh God, I've literally never thought of that. I honestly don't know what to say. I have to be honest. I mean, there's a lot of musicians that I really admire, but I've really never thought of what it would be like to collaborate with one of them. If we could be remixed by Aphex Twin, that'd be really cool.
Wow, I wasn't expecting that one, Allie.
Well, I mean, what are we gonna have Daniel Ash do a remix of one of our songs? I don't even know if he does that.
We can find out. Maybe you
Yep.
just play a little
There's-
sax on it or something.
But I really,
You know-
I didn't know a lot of his more, kind of atmospheric stuff, and it's gorgeous, and that would be cool. So I'll just throw that out.
Well, think of it in another way, Allie. Think of it not just as like, Daniel Ash, you see him as the musician, but think about it as somebody that would be in the studio, maybe just kind of pushing you along or saying, hey, why don't you try, or like maybe more on a producer side or something like.
I would just have to go with Jason Corbett of Actors. He's
Fine
got that
choice.
magic producer button. Worked out well.
Sure.
Damn it! I thought I was gonna skate out of this question easy, and you blew me over.
Your volume just went way down, Panther, I think.
Oh no.
Yep.
You know what? You know who I'd like to collaborate with? An IT guy.
IT.
Maybe you've got Barrett.
Yeah. I would like to collaborate with, someone to help me.
Yep, it's gone.
Oh, we lost him.
That California vibe, it's too chill.
We lost it. Yeah.
So
there we go.
we'll just say that he suggested the Beach Boys.
How about now?
No, I know his answer is really Steely Dan.
Yep,
see,
there you
go. You losing juice over there?
I don't know what's happening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, probably what it is. Batteries only last so long on those.
Hmm.
1 second.
Well, if you can't get it back, you can always type it in chat.
Okay.
That's right. Start typing.
It won't show up in the video, but we can read it.
That could be a fun segment.
Yeah. Could do a poll, right? Like what band is he gonna say? And give like 4 and see.
Just kidding.
Oh, wait, I heard something.
And it's gone.
This is...
Dave, get those video editing skills together.
Yeah.
We are experiencing technical difficulties.
Put in the Monty Python intermission video.
Just make sure I get squished with a giant foot. That's all I want. Just once in my life, I want the Monty Python foot.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Now we
That's better,
can.
All right.
We're
No.
back, baby.
yeah. No, maybe
We'll see
not.
what happens.
There you go.
See what happens. I don't know. We'll see what happens. They can just answer all the questions for me. This is your time to put me in full blast roast mode and just
Who do you want
trash
to
me, so,
collaborate with?
Yeah.
Jason Corbett of Actors. You stole my joke. I already told you.
It's not a joke.
Well, I already did. I've completed my dreams. I'm moving on. I don't know.
That's right. We did it already. That's right. So
I know you made the joke about Steely Dan, but the only reason I'm into Steely Dan was because they seemed like the most intense monsters in the studio of all time. I actually think it would be a complete fucking nightmare to collaborate with those guys.
yeah, they would make you do about 200 takes.
Right. Yeah. So no, that's definitely not the answer. I don't know. I'm just so frazzled from this technology thing. I'm going to come back to this. I'm just going to jump in with my answer later. It's going to be a surprise for the end. How's that?
Yeah.
All right. If
one
I
of my
make it that far.
One of my dreams would be to get up on stage with either Neubauten or Test Department and just beat the crap out of something for a little while.
Yeah.
I think you can make that happen.
If we're talking
Yeah.
about
Yeah,
just
we
getting
could-
on stage, that's, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know. I was
Yeah,
picturing like
Martin
studio
Martin did one, a
collaboration.
remix for us,
Yeah.
which was awesome.
Well, they did a special DJ set for my May Day event, raising money for Darkest Before Dawn. And oh my God, when I didn't hear right away in the beginning because I was busy getting stuff set up when I first played it, but in the beginning, you know, they specifically call out that they're making this for this event. And when I heard that later on, I was like, oh my God, oh. Wow, you know.
It feels good, right?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, man.
So, what do you guys do when you're not making music, playing music, talking on Zoom?
This is it. We just talk to each other on Zoom all day.
Yeah. And then we wait for people like you to jump in on the call. So I don't know, it's a good question. Well, a lot of weird stuff, right? Because we've had a lot of free time. So it's like, I feel like that question was easier to answer because there was more free time, but I just do a lot of weird stuff now, right? Like for the last year, I feel like I've consumed the most amount of media that I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
Cook sometimes.
Mhm.
Try to, I don't know. Yeah. It's almost like hard to answer because I feel like I've been in a haze all this time. I'm like, I can't even answer the question of what I've done the last year, actually.
Well, what do you like cooking?
Italian food.
He's very good at it.
Yeah.
He is very good at it.
Hence
Fun
the pizza
fact.
thing.
Yeah.
Fun fact, I like to make homemade pasta. That's a fun
nice.
fact about me. Yeah.
Nice.
And I like to eat it.
That's Barrett's hobby. Yeah.
I guess I've taken all this time to actually learn my gear that I use on stage. So yeah, that's been fun.
It's
very time consuming
to get more into the tech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a big lover of gadgetry and technology, and so you know, I'm just trying to merge them more and more until I can become like that supercomputer in Superman 3.
Or
sorry to make a joke. Go ahead.
I was gonna say either that or Tetsuo.
Oh yeah.
Right. Yes.
Oh
yeah.
wow. Yeah.
I hope you're.
I just need to
I hope it doesn't
impale
end the same
myself
way for you,
with
Barry.
lots of rebar.
Yeah.
Allie?
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to talk about, I could talk about work because it's been consuming a lot of my time, but that's really boring. So I have been working on my finger picking on guitar, which has
That's
been
music related though.
super fun.
That's
and then the
totally
other,
music related. But I guess
other thing is me and my husband bought a house, which is nuts. So we've been fixing up the basement, getting, drums down there and amps down there. And I don't know, kind of making our little like Zen nook in the world. So that's been probably the coolest thing that's happened in my life in a really long time.
Cool.
Allie, I think you can announce it. You're starting your own HGTV reality TV series with your home now.
It would be
It's
pretty
time to let
boring,
the
but
world
yeah.
know. Yeah.
yeah.
I know a lot of people have been getting their homes set up for streaming from home.
We may stream
Yeah.
from our basement. We'll see.
And
I'll be right there.
I was wrong earlier about other bands. I did interview Caroline Blind, and
Oh, cool.
she had bought a church, and she was
What?
getting ready to set it up for a stage in the middle with streaming and all that.
Wow.
I saw that.
I
Yeah.
can't compete with that.
Oh,
Panther has turned into a panther.
Yeah.
As it always should be.
It's kind of like our version of Michael Jackson's Thriller. This is what happens when it gets dark.
Star.
love it. Can you hear me?
Now we
Yeah.
can.
Oh, really? I
Yeah,
can't see anything.
It was your Panther
Your future's too bright, buddy.
profile picture.
It's better looking, so that's fine with me. That's a good looking Panther picture. I think my technology is going to fail here, guys, because that is my legacy. Not only do I look like a caveman, but I exist in the same technological universe as one, so I can't get it together. I don't know what's happening.
Your legacy is being like on a beach with a palm tree behind you and having technology fail you. It's not a bad legacy.
I think it turns out chill vibes don't charge phones, so I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a scientist, but that's what it seems like.
But you are a doctor.
I am a doctor, and I want to take this brief opportunity, just in case this fails, to let people know I am a Panther doctor.
He knows stuff about things.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is no context. It'll mean something later. But
Okay.
yeah. I can't see anything. I'm like looking into a black phone. This is like talking to like your grandparents on a Zoom call or something like this. It's like it's devolved into
Exactly like that.
Yeah. You can get Barrett's mom on here. Just have me replaced.
I can call her up. She would be happy to get on.
She probably have better answers than I would too. But yeah, I can't see anything.
That's fine because we can't see you either.
Oh, good.
We can still hear you though, which is interesting.
Okay, I'll just keep hanging out then.
Before your technology fails completely, let's ask the other hard question.
Oh, God.
Okay.
And not related to technology, because that's too easy. But what gives you hope?
You know what? As much as I think of myself maybe as a cynical person sometimes or whatever, I actually think people do. I think most people that I meet and talk with in the world are actually mostly kind and want good things. So I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm in California that I'm saying that, but I don't know. I felt that lately.
Well, I think that's
a
fair.
good answer.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
the more I talk to people in person,
Yes, I just want to say I have a lot of faith in just people themselves, and when you're out here kind of in the real world, and you get the perspective that most people are actually very kind and just want normal good things, and I think we've lost that a little bit, but I actually do just have faith in people or hope in people, so that's it.
Good answer.
Yeah.
I agree, actually.
Sorry, guys, I didn't mean to bring the house down.
I don't know how to follow that, dude.
I thought it was maybe generic as it was coming out of my mouth, but yeah, I believe that it's truthful though. So
It's really easy for a lot of people to just put other people in little boxes and try to identify them without even really knowing them. And I think people just need to get back to actually talking in person if possible. I mean, I know that's obviously harder these days, but even like this, I feel like the internet has just kind of washed over nuance and real emotion. It's like it's so hard to tell what a person is really trying to convey when you read it rather than when you see it on their face.
Right.
And you have that immediate kind of back and forth where you don't get that. You could sit there and go, okay, this is the perfect thing to type up, or whatever, if you're a troll or anything like that and you want to say fuck these guys, they suck, all that kind of stuff. I think a lot of that washes away when you can just sit down and have a one-on-one conversation with somebody. And
it 100% does, and that's something that that's what gives me hope, because when you, as Barrett said, it's good actually. The world's not the place it's always painted out to be when you're out here again. So
yeah, I guess to add to that, it's like we have played in a lot of places in the world, and we have met all walks of life, and there are good people out there everywhere, and they just welcome us into their lives, even if it's just for a few hours, whatever it is. And there's some of the best memories of my life are just meeting strangers anywhere.
Perfect strangers.
Perfect strangers.
Beautiful. Just leave it there. That is so pretty. The only thing I don't have hope in is that I'll have a successful Zoom meeting where my phone won't fail. That actually, I know that wasn't the question, but I will do the opposite. My biggest doubt is that anything I own will function the way it's supposed to. But in the scheme of things, I'm all right with that.
Well, accidents can turn into something great.
Very
all right,
true.
Allie, you're up.
Why? Why'd you have to do that?
Because I know you're avoiding it. That's why.
I mean, listen, like, I think I agree with what you guys are saying, but I will specifically point out that people's like resilience and almost like stubbornness to not let like the scene, the music scene, the community like slip away during this has been like really impressive to me, because there were a lot of moments when I kind of let myself go to a darker place where I was just like, what is happening? And this has been going on for so long. And there's just people who have this drive to keep us all together and like, keep sharing music. And, it's just, that has been really impressive to me, and sort of a light in the darkness, if you will, and I don't know if I have that sort of resilience. So it's been really cool to see that, and it did bring me, I think, a lot of like hope in the uncertainty of everything.
That was a pretty good answer, Allie. Yeah.
I wrote it out yesterday.
Well, no, you seem so scared, but that was very heartfelt. I know you very well, and I was moved by that. So, congrats.
So I mean,
I
if it were left up to me, none of us would be talking right now. I would just be like crying in the corner somewhere.
You can see we have a hard time giving each other compliments. So yeah, whatever. I was moved by that. I just wanted to see. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I've heard a few times. Just like I said, that people have said that, you know, being able to connect, whether it's through Twitch or Zoom or, you know, whatever, has been just life-saving. And
the
yeah,
amount of effort that it takes to put these things together, you know, when, you know, things seem so bleak, it's great. It's really cool. And I do really appreciate it. So thank you everyone who did that.
Yeah.
you're welcome on behalf of everyone.
And you know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go one step farther. I want to give a shout out to Pants on this because, you know, when things were shutting down and we weren't really sure what to do, I will say he's the one champion in our band that went like, okay, like here's what we're dealing with right now, but here's how we can turn it around. Here's how we can make the most of it. You know, he was constantly, you know, cheerleading us to look to the bright side, look to the future. What, you know, if it wasn't for him, I don't know how much we would have done, you know, during this period. So I do want to say thank you to you.
Well, I'm glad my headphones work for that awesome compliment. I was kind of, I thought that was such a very sweet thing, and thank you for saying that. But I was wondering after that very nice thing that if my if there was no response from me, that would have been a perfect.
It would have been perfect.
Yeah. just dead air. Like, well, all right. But yeah, thank you. Yeah. Yeah. I'll just say thanks, and I am excited about the creative stuff we did during this time, which we're not ready to share with anyone, but I'm excited about what we've come up with. So that's the future.
And so for a little more immediate future, you all want to give a rundown of the shows you got coming up?
Oh wow, yeah. Well, we've got a lot booked actually. We're kicking things off September 4th, the Murder of Crows Festival here in New York, the Bowery Ballroom, which is, you know, run by our great friends Sean and Mondana from the Red Party.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean,
are these going to be?
Think of a. What? Go ahead.
Are they going to be live only, or any of this stuff going to be streamed?
Knowing them, I'm sure they'll figure a way to stream something. Yeah, I mean they've had a few events already, and I know that they've streamed them. You know, very last minute, kind of thrown together, and they find a way. So I'm sure they will. But then, yeah, right after that, we're going on a quick little tour with Modern English,
cool,
which we're very excited about. And then right after that is a couple more festivals. We got Absolution. No, before that's Cold Waves. And then we have Absolution in Florida. Yep. And then in November we've got a pretty long string going, mostly up and around Eastern, you know, up to Canada, and you know, we've got it's all on our socials. If you go to our website bootblacks.net, you'll find all this information.
The reason I'm completely silent isn't because it's cut out. Is I have a hard time remembering what day of the week it is, let alone any dates of any important coming up.
So who's the one that keeps you all on track?
Then? Band, but...
we all complement each other in various ways.
I think we're hitting some places we haven't hit before, though. Yeah, in November, like some places in the South. And
Madison, Wisconsin, Minneapolis,
Kentucky.
Minnesota. There's definitely some places that we're looking forward to playing for the first time. How far south are we going? I don't think we got Atlanta on this leg, but we're still working some stuff out. I mean, we've got Texas dates for April coming in.
Right.
So it's a constant.
Right.
Stuff's coming in.
Don't listen to me. Don't let me interrupt. I don't know nothing about this stuff.
Yeah, we just wake him up and drag him with us. And we taped the name of the city to his microphone, so he.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not a joke. That's basically my mode of operating. So
Like, what?
that
Where
sounds
are
like
we?
he's giving me a hard time, but it's like 98% true. So
I think like what you were asking, who kind of keeps us all in line and stuff like that. We all do, you know. Panther is definitely, he's the captain of this ship. He steers us. And Allie and Larry are just constant, musical just output. It's just like endless. So there's no shortage of creativity. And I'm just a tech nerd. I just glue it all together.
there you go.
Yeah.
That you know what, Barrett? That was perfectly said there. But it's funny because I like that you described me as a captain who doesn't know what city we're going to. So that
Kind of like
shows
Jack
quality of
Sparrow,
mind.
I guess.
Yeah, sort of a half maniac, just looking for any land anywhere. But yeah, but thank you.
Yeah.
Well, that's why you have a navigator, right?
Right. Barrett's the navigator. I'm just
Just a captain telling
I'm
everybody
just
what
the
to
guy in the yeah, I'm just the guy in the better outfit with booze. So that makes me the captain.
Yep.
Yeah.
But plenty of rum.
Yeah.
Well, if you get down south anywhere, it'd be great. I'll see you at Cold Waves, of course, but if you come
great.
anywhere near Charleston, it's not a very
We
big
have something booked in the Carolinas.
really.
Is that
Right.
April? That's April,
Yes.
right?
No,
Yeah.
I think it's November, isn't it?
Hmm.
I know.
To
I'm
be
sorry.
honest, No, the reason it's like this is also because of the uncertainty of booking all this stuff, right? So
Yeah.
that's why. I mean,
That's why we don't know,
just,
right?
You have Virginia.
Allie, right now, I'm trying to cover up our thing here. You just blew my
Yes, it's
cover.
very uncertain. The future looks
No, I'm saying
yes.
Right. Personally, I'm already pretty poor at this stuff, but it has been just a lot of stuff because we didn't actually know what was going to happen for a long time. So, now that it seems like things are returning back to normal, I think that, just a lot of dates all of a sudden.
We're playing
so.
Raleigh in November.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, it's not showing on your site yet.
Because this is breaking news, Dave.
All right.
We
Awesome.
just broke it.
Cool.
Well, that's why it even makes it more complicated because some of the dates, depending on the venues and how it's done, is some of them aren't announced or whatever. So
Right.
It's all kind of like everything's being kind of made up and done in real time. So,
But we'll be sure to let you know.
Yeah.
But it won't be before Cold Wave, so maybe we'll get to tell you in person.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
For sure. Yeah, that's a month and a half away. Coming
I
up.
know.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited because it's always around my birthday. So like the first night of it is my birthday.
Couldn't ask for anything better than that, right?
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Not yet.
Yeah, almost.
Well,
Yeah.
We'll share a slice.
There you go. Get that square slice.
Put a candle in it and everything.
There you go. So, that's most of the questions that I had. Is there anything that you want to say as last words or?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I've had a nice time talking with you.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed Star Wars. I've enjoyed pizza. We went on quite a ride.
Yeah.
I said some stuff that I don't even know what I was saying at some points in the interview. So I hope it came out all good. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And by the way, that was a very eloquent ending. I've never sounded more articulate, but yes, thank you. It was a fun talk.
Yeah. Thanks for
Yeah.
taking any amount of interest in us. Like your time means a lot to us, and we hope that you gleaned some fun facts about us, and
Oh yeah.
we
No,
hope that you don't like us any less.
That's right.
No.
Okay.
No, this has been great. I've really enjoyed it. I mean, we've been going for 2 hours, so yeah. It's definitely been fun.
Well, not quite the record, but that's fine.
Yeah,
We'll-
yeah.
Whoa! We didn't hit the record. Okay, I got another hour of stuff.
Yeah, the record is 3.5 hours with Joe Virus.
Wow.
Okay, I'm just gonna start reading from a book in front of me. I think I'll put us over the 4-hour mark. To be like an Andy
Man.
Kaufman-esque performance, but I want that record. So
If we're gonna be known for anything, it's gonna be for the longest interview.
yeah. What's your thoughts about these guys? Just a really long interview. Was it good? I wouldn't say so, but it was long.
Yeah,
All right.
let's quit while we're ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, ahead, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
You
So
know, I will say this. I'm going to say one more thing. I would like to come back on and take a shot at the record. So as some time passes, you know.
We'll have a follow-up
Absolutely.
7-hour interview.
there you go.
Yeah. Thank
Well,
you.
we've got a lot of time at Cold Wave, so
Okay.
Yeah. No,
There you go.
let's do it.
I don't know how
All right.
long my phone will last, but maybe 7 hours. I'm hoping to be able to do a few like interviews at Cold Wave, so we'll definitely be able to get a follow-up at that.
I see your 7 hours and I raise you to 8 hours. Let's bring it on.
Wow.
All right,
Like a full work day with no lunch break.
there you go.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, as long as there's a bar, I guess.
Yep.
That helps.
Yeah.
That helps.
All right.
I
All right,
just
well,
want to
again-
say that I hope the couple behind you makes it. I
Yeah.
really feel it strong from them.
Yeah.
We're really into each other.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell by the body language. It's good. We need that sort of hope today. So
Yeah.
I hope they're doing well.
I think that couple's actually from Mypos, a very small country shaped like a lamb chop somewhere.
In the
The
Mediterranean, right?
Mediterranean. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And if no one got that, you should watch Perfect Strangers and get with it.
Yeah.
And now we've tied it all in.
There you go.
Nice. Well,
I hope at Cold Waves we'll do the Dance of Joy together.
yep.
There you go.
And may the force be with you all.
You
May the
too.
force be with you.
All right.
May the force
Thanks
be
for
with
having
you.
us.
Yeah.